You know, every week I have one off day, right? So during the off day, what happened was I slept till about 10, went out for breakfast. I couldn't take it after breakfast. I went upstairs again at 11. I slept all the way until 4. I missed my church service because of virtual church service. And then I played with the kids a little bit, then have dinner. Then at 8 o'clock, I slept again until the whole day, until the next morning. I was like fatigued. Then when I think back, I was like, because that week I had like 6 home tours. So that was like the week that I shot 6 home tours back to back, like every day. Because every home tour is like you exhaust so much mental energy trying to memorize the numbers and everything, right? I was like, when I look at my wife, she was like, why are you sleeping the whole day? It's like, supposed to play with the kids. So I paid her back one more day the next week. Yeah, I brought the kids out for cycling. We cycled to Coney Island. It's almost killed me because I just realized how long I haven't cycled. I decided to start to get in shape. I started gym this week with some of the young people, and I hope that I can maintain it. Wish me luck. Alright, so welcome back to our next episode of Nuggets on the Go. In this episode, we're going to talk about the quantum effect that was caused by TDSR back in 2013 when a slew of cooling measures came out during that particular year and how it has impacted the market since then. And we're going to talk about what is going to be the shift towards 2022 and why this quantum effect will take place even more so, but this time around is in the resale market compared to the new launch market back then. Let's go. Alright, so what is this TDSR quantum effect that we're talking about? So back in 2013, specific date was on the 12th January 2013, there was this slew of cooling measures that came out in one go. And of course, that was after different rounds of cooling measures that came out ever since like 2009, 10, 11, and 2012. So 2013 was the most impactful year because that year, when this happened, a slew of cooling measures, for example, like the LTV for your second property dropped from 60% to 50%, and the third loan became like 40% because in the past there was not much restrictions on your second and third property in terms of the loan to value ratio. That of course encouraged a lot of multiple property purchases by property investors. And then the ABSD part 2 came out, whereby Singaporeans now on your second property you have to pay 7%, your third property is 10%, PR investors and buyers 5% on your first property, 10% on the second property, and instantaneously as a foreign buyer investor, first property for residential market is 15%. But then on 29th of June 2013, government released another round of cooling measures, and that was one of the most impactful one because that is the TDSR, total debt servicing ratio cooling measure. And when this came out, instantly over the next 6 months, a lot of news came out on publications, and you can see that a lot of people were predicting that the price is going to fall by close to maybe about 10% or 20% in 2014, 2015. And I think by now we're in 2021, coming to 2022, we've already forgotten about all these news articles that was about 6 to 7 years back. There was also a trend back then in the sense that the land bid pricing from developers, because everybody's confidence dropped after TDSR came out, land bid pricing actually dropped in terms of per square foot back before 2013. And after 2013, on this junction in June 2013, that was what happened on the ground level in terms of consumers and investors as well as the developers level. This is also considered like the ultimatum of measures on top of the ABSD that came out in the early part of 2013. This TDSR technically affected the affordability of home buyers. Now, we all have to understand that real estate is a factor on the macro level on demand and supply. Now, everything takes two hands to clap. If there's a lot of supply and there's no demand to absorb the supply, the price will fall. If there is a lot of demand, not enough supply to meet the demand, the price will increase. This is the law of demand and supply. Economics, very real in the real estate market, been like this since the start of time. When TDSR came out, it affected the amount of loan quantum that a potential buyer can loan from the bank to buy off this property from the market. So let's have a look at this table. Before I show this table, there were also articles that ministers have said that this TDSR is a structural nature kind of cooling measure. That means it will be here to stay. It's not going to be removed because that is governing our financial prudency. And I think logically, this is a very good cooling measure because this will then ensure that everybody really is able to afford to hold a property for the mid to long term and not just coming for speculation to flip the property very quickly. I think that is extremely important because if there are a lot of people that cannot service their monthly obligations, and let's say if their properties cannot be rented out to substantiate and things like that, then there's going to be a lot of social issues. Now, let's have a look at this table that we tabulated back then during 2013. So assuming if a person earns $10,000 a month, age of 35, they can borrow up to 30 years. Now, in the past, it was also much longer, but then now it's capped at 65 minus 30. But now it's capped at 65 minus your age. Max loan tenure at 30 years old at the first purchase. But of course, when you do a refinance, you can stretch the tenure a little bit up to a certain age. But that's another topic altogether. When we come and look at this, a person that used to earn $10,000, they can loan up to $1.336 million and they can buy up to a $1.67 million assuming they have the 20% down payment. If they have a car loan, let's say they have a normal car that has a monthly installment of $1,000, their loan quantum instantaneously drop to $1.13 million. And if let's say their car loan is much higher at $1,500 per month, that instantaneously also dropped further to $1 million, which then affected the overall final price quantum that they can afford. Because if let's say they can only loan up to $1 million, that means we work backwards, they can perhaps buy up to maybe about $1.2 million kind of property. But compare that to the past before the TDSR measure, where it was based on a base rate of 1.5% and 35 years loan tenure, compared to the TDSR measure where MAS is based on 3.5% guideline interest rate and a max loan tenure of 30 years. In the past, the same person can loan up to $1.63 million and buy up to $2 million. So if somebody walks in the show flat, they have a $10,000 salary, they can just afford a $2 million property very easily, provided they have $400,000 down payment ready to put in. If you can see, from $2 million, it dropped to $1.67 million. That is a huge drop because that's close to about 30% drop in terms of affordability level on the overall price quantum of the property. And if they have car loans to service, renovation loan to service, all this will eat into the loan quantum. It will then further drop to maybe affordability of $1.4 million or maybe up to $1.2 million if they have car loans that they're servicing. From 2 mil to 1.6, with car loan maybe at 1.4, bigger cars, bigger loans, maybe up to 1.2. That instantaneously is a huge drop in the range of about maybe 20 to 40% in terms of overall affordability. So coming back to the demand and supply factor, affordability is a huge factor when it talks about demand because affordability is basically the buying power of potential buyers that they have when they go into the resale or the new launch market. If the buying power is affected, then supply will also be affected because the supply of the existing property, if they cannot meet the demand and they cannot be absorbed by the demand, then naturally that will cause a fall in prices. Now, since then, what has happened is that this TDSR instantaneously shifted the perspective of what kind of properties should go into the market if, let's say, you are a developer point of view. So developer, definitely they reacted very fast, and this is natural because the law of demand supply will enable consumers and suppliers to make adjustments to their products, which is the new launches that they're going to launch to cater to meet the new behavior by the demand in the market. So if let's say you are a developer, you know that everybody's buying power has dropped. What you're going to do is definitely you want to create products and new launches to suit their buying power. Alright, so I'm going to pull out this data to look at some of the differences in the reaction of developers in the types of units that they created before 2013 and after 2013. And towards the end of today's segment, we're going to talk about how this is going to affect the market in 2022 and why the quantum effect is going to affect the resale market. So stay tuned with us towards the end, alright, where we give you the summary points. So because this is going to affect all of our buying decision and selling decision for the next couple of years. So before TDSR, let's just have a look at these two very fantastic projects in D20. I love these two projects. We have sold properties in these two projects before. Walking distance, just downstairs is, Junction 8, Bishan. Bishan is an intersection line North-South line and Circle line. Great locale, City Fringe region. We love the Bishan landscape because Bishan has always been the birthplace of a lot of $1 million HDB, and the private properties are also all doing very well. But these two projects has been very interesting. Same developer, but before 2013, we noted down the date. So Sky Habitat, the land tenure is 99 years starting from 2011. Skyview, land tenure 99 years starting from 2013. But immediately, we can see that before and after kind of effect. So for Sky Habitat, the land of course was bidded before the TDSR measure. Just have a look at the sizes of the units right here on this right hand side. And how does TDSR affect the size of a unit? So the two projects are literally side by side. Different concepts because Sky Habitat is a very beautiful project with that kind of like, what is that? Pyramid. Should I call it Egyptian pyramid? Right, so it's beautiful. We saw a 4-bedder there. We love it. We also saw the 1-bedder there as well. Layout is great. The sky terraces are beautiful. We love the fact that almost most part of Singapore, when you look towards Bishan, you can just see this such an iconic structure right there. So the 1-bedders, they were all done at about 710 square feet. But take a look at the 1-bedders at Skyview. They're all at about less than 500 square feet. 484, 495, and the price quantum is vastly different. How is the price quantum different? Price quantum for Sky Habitat 1-bedders is all above $1 million. There's some at about the high 980,000. It goes all the way up to about $1.3 million. You look at Skyview, it is from about 600 plus, 700 odd dollars to about 900 odd thousand dollars. This means that when we look at the launch period, the PSF are actually about the same, because they were all at about 1,400 plus per square foot. Skyview was slightly higher, 1,400, 1,500, a bit of $1,600 per square foot. But the quantum was different, because when it was launched, Sky Habitat was at about 900 plus to $1 million odd dollars. And then Skyview, you can get a 1-bedder at about 700 odd thousand dollars. So there was a quantum shift. If you can see Sky Habitat, you need to have at least $1 million to buy a 1-bedder. But after TDSR, to buy a 1-bedder at the same locale, different project, 700 odd thousand dollars. So that instantaneously is a reaction to the market on shifting and recreating products that suits the affordability of the buyers because of TDSR. Because of that, developers have to think out of the box to really see how they can cater to the quantum affordability of the buyer's demand pool by creating more efficient units, all the way from 700 square feet to about 500 square feet. And that size has been the usual size from 2013 until today. And 1-bedders, they're all at about 400 plus square feet. There's some smaller ones at about 410, 420, but usually it's all hovering at about 400 plus, 500 square feet. If you talk about 1+ study, they will be bigger, 500 plus, maybe 600 square feet. But now it's all about 500 plus. 2-bedders, in the past, it used to be about 1,000 square feet. Take a look at Sky Habitat 2-bedders. In terms of size, is at 1,002 for some of the units. There are also units at about 1,000. There's also some units at about 893. But then when you look at Skyview, they're all at about 600 plus, 700 plus square feet. Some bigger ones, maybe 2+ study at about 800 square feet, but they're all averagely hovering at about 700 square feet. In terms of price quantum, also a dip from the 1.3, 1.4, 1.5 million dollars, or even at 1.6 million dollars kind of mark to about $1 million. There was this shift, averagely about 1.6 to about $1 million. And then when you look at the 3-bedders at Sky Habitat, that was from 2 million to about $1.6 million. So when this happened in 2013, that took place all the way until 2016 and 2017. If you can see, a lot of people that bought new launches from 2013 to 2016 or even 2017, they seen a very healthy profit, because that was the era where units became smaller to cater to the quantum, and PSF also were maintained at a lower rate in terms of new launches. So a lot of people, when they see appreciation from 2013, 2014, 2015, all the way until today, they see a lot more appreciation because that was the immediate impact that TDSR cost to the market. But 8 years later, right now, everybody has gotten used to the TDSR cooling measures, and everybody has stopped talking about it. As human beings, we all get used to things very quickly, and not to mention that's already 8 years later. So everybody now is already very clear about the policies and rules governing how much we can loan. In terms of the behavior change, I would think that the TDSR effect has went away in how it impacted our loan and LTV ratio, because we're all calculating based on this method every single day to determine how much we can loan, what kind of properties we can buy. But then there was another shift that happened in 2018. Let's have a look at this. what was the other shift? The other shift is that there was a load of en blocs that happened in 2018 especially. The en bloc sales in terms of deals announced since 2017 and 2018 was at an all-time high. Because of that, the PSF range actually shifted upwards. So in the past, everybody was talking about PSF ranges, maybe in the OCR region at about $1,000 to maybe about $1,200 per square foot. But then in 2017, 2018, because of the en bloc fever and the government land sales and things like that, the new kind of PSF that occurs in the OCR region became the range of about $1,300 all the way to about $1,500 and $1,600 per square foot. So there was this shift from 1,000 to 1,002 to 1,003 to 1,006. Everybody took a little bit of time to get used to them. So 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 were the 4 years that everybody got used to the new pricing in the OCR region, in the RCR region, in the CCR region. We talked about this in the past 2 episodes about predicting 2022 market. We are going to look at this new map in terms of OCR, RCR, and CCR. What's going to happen in the OCR region 2022 onwards, especially when you look at some of the news right now where en bloc deals are coming back towards the end of this year, and next year, very likely, there's going to be a lot more en bloc deals happening. And coinciding with GRS being bid up more aggressively by developers because their land banks are depleting after completing most of their projects in the past 5 years, we're going to see a new range of benchmark price. So in summary for you, if you have not watched the 2 episodes before this, OCR very likely is going to be at a new price benchmark compared to 2018 period where we were talking about 1,003 to 1,006. It's going to then shift to 1,008 to 2,001. And then RCR is going to shift to 2002 to 2007. CCR is going to shift to 3,000 to 3,005, maybe even challenging 4,000. Maybe, very possible. And we're all talking about the 99 years. Of course, there are some freeholds here and there, which will be maybe 20% higher in terms of PSF, but we're all talking about 99 years new launches. Because of this new shift, there's going to be a very interesting phenomenon in the resale market. And we're coming to the end of this session. So what does this mean for the resale market, and what does this mean for you and me and you and all of us? Is that if you're hunting for a property in the market, if you are in the midst of maybe upgrading from a HDB apartment or upgrading from another place and things like that, and you are thinking about, hey, should I go for the new launch and resale? And take note that in every month's transaction, 50% of transactions are usually new launches, 50% are resale. So there are different buyer preferences. Some people really love brand new products, can afford to wait, can stay with their parents, they can rent. Some buyers really love resale because they really don't like to go out and rent and wait and things like that. So it's all good depending on which one you prefer. But if you are preferring towards buying something off in the resale market, I think that 2022 is going to be very interesting because properties that will be in the lower quantum range, I think it will really be absorbed very rapidly because we are seeing this new shift in benchmark price. So let me bring out this table for you. What this means is that with new launches on the right hand side, let me bring out this table, and the new PSF range and quantum range because of this new benchmark pricing that we just mentioned in OCR, RCR, and CCR. One beders at about 500 square feet in OCR is all going to be $1 million. In RCR, they're all going to be about 1.2 plus. CCR is going to be 1.5 million upwards. You can look at what happened at Canning Hill Piers. Fantastic, beautiful project. Did so well, 70% sold already. In terms of 2 beders at 700 square feet, the new price, quantum price, is going to be at 1.4 million for OCR, plus minus. RCR at maybe 1.6 to 1.7. And then CCR is all going to be above $2 million for 2 beders. And when we move to the 3 beders, OCR, usually about 900 square feet now. 3 beders are all going to be about 1.8 million for OCR. RCR at 2.16. CCR at $2.7, $2.8 million onwards. And if we look towards the left-hand side and we look at the resale market, this means that if any buyers is in the OCR market and out hunting with a $1 million budget and they can only buy a new launch 1-bedder in the OCR market, it would then mean that with $1 million, if you can buy a 2-bedder or maybe even a 3-bedder, some of the older projects in OCR, then all the more you should go for it because everything is going to shift one level upwards in the new launch market. And thus what this means for resale market is that if you can hunt for something with more bedrooms, then go for it because it's really a quantum play right here. And if let's say you are going for a $1.7 million budget in the RCR region, you can only maybe get a 2-bedder for new launches. Then when you look at the resale market, if you get a 3-bedder, then all the more you should go for it. Because this quantum play is going to take place very rapidly in the resale market as the price benchmark becomes clearer. Once more new launches are going to be launched and announced in 2022, towards 2023. I think 2022 is going to be a quantum year. It's going to be a quantum play year for resale. And properties that are in the range of 1 mil to 1.5, they will all be absorbed very quickly. Even up to $2 million for bigger units, like 3-4 bedrooms, they'll all be absorbed very quickly. And thus, if you're on the lookout right now in the resale market, then I think definitely don't time the market because the signals are very clear. If you're planning to sell, it depends on them what will be the next move. If you're moving bigger, always know that a price shift in the bigger property is going to create a huge impact in quantum. So if you're moving bigger, then take action quickly. If you're downsizing and you're sort of retiring, defensive mode, then you have the liberty of choice to maybe wait out a little bit or maybe just to see how the market evolves in the next 1 year, right? So I think overall, there's also going to be a last phenomenon when we look at some of the comparison in terms of these 3 categories of properties. Just have a look at Mandarin Gardens. If we talk about the Bala's curve, usually people will observe a few different ranges. That means when it was very young, between 90 to 99 years balance lease, and then second point is at 80 years lease. Third point is very significant at 60 years balance lease because that's going to impact CPF usage. And then 30 years is going to impact basically your loans because a property that has a balance lease of 30 years and less, banks don't loan you. You have to pay full cash to buy them. But what does this mean is that if you look at Mandarin Gardens, even though right now in the year 2021, it has already hit below the benchmark of 60 years, it's now lesser than 60 years. But the price has also shifted all the way from 2015 at an average price of 1.4, 1.5 million. Is now all transacting at 1.7 to 1.8 million. It has also shifted up because the quantum effect sometimes will triumph and it will sometimes supersede the Bala's curve as well because everybody is out hunting for bigger space plus at the same quantum if possible, because we also have to take note that although everything has escalated over the past 2 years in terms of pricing, but our income levels are still about the same. And thus, most people that are doing the upgrade are using the cash proceeds from their current place, their current apartments, because their current apartment has appreciated. They are taking and extracting the capital and pumping it into the next property. But in terms of income levels from first-hand buyers, it has remained predominantly the same for the past 2 years. So this will then mean that I think for the next 2 years, lower quantum properties will be absorbed very rapidly. Of course, take action if you can after financial prudency is being done. I think I've come to the end of this episode. Before we go, click on the link right down below because we're going to give you a free PDF on comparisons of 20 different projects island-wide. We've selected these 20 different projects to show you the significance of before 2013 and after 2013 in terms of the shift in the sizes of the properties, the floor plans, as well as the quantum price. And then you can take a look at these 2 comparisons and then decide what kind of properties do you want to enter. I think for 2022 as well, what is going to happen is that because the PSF for new launches is going to be at a new benchmark, buyers on the ground in the resale market, they are going to look back at all these projects that was before 2013 because their sizes were big, and because of the pandemic, everybody wants a bigger size now in terms of floor plate. They're going to look back at Sky Habitat. They're going to look back at projects before 2013 because in terms of the large size plus the PSF now and we add back the total quantum, it seems to be matching the new launch quantum already. So they're going to look at projects like Sky Habitat, they're going to look at projects like Archipelago, they're going to look at projects like Dual Residences because these were projects that were before the 2013 era with huge sizes for their 1, 2, 3, 4 bedders. Adding and multiplying back by the current per square foot, their overall quantum is going to be very close to the new benchmark quantum of new launches. So lovers of resale market, I think that's going to be the behavior in the next 2 years. And when you download the PDF link below, we're going to show you 20 different projects comparison that might help you with your buying decision and just for comparison's sake. So thank you for staying tuned with us on Now It's Gonna Go. We'll see you on the next episode. And meantime, take care. My name is Melvin Lim. Thanks for supporting Propertylimbrothers and loving our content. And do subscribe to our channel. Give us a like on this video as well and share this with your friends if you think it's helpful. And we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers. Hey? Excuse me. By the way, I think the rule of thumb is that I should not be wearing stripes because I think you guys will see me a little bit wavy.